All right, Dylan, I have paired you up with Zach Greinke. I'm not even saying you look like him. I typically look at how he moves, and it's fairly conservative in how he creates his velocity and how he throws the ball. So he's got a pretty high leg kick. This is actually pretty typical in the bigs. But what I want you to notice is how much more turn he has. So even though he's not significantly inside his drive leg, at the peak of his leg kick, if you compare his leg right here with like a Chapman or most other throwers, it's clearly inside his back leg. So hips turned, this number one with him is what you should be going for. Although I will say this, because you are just you are athletic enough to get away with a lot of things. And I say that with hesitation because I always feel like regardless of our athleticism, we should always copy throwers that are smaller than us and are less athletic than us. Unfortunately, though, when you get to the big leagues, most guys are super athletic, so that really doesn't translate. But my point being is, you can get away with a lot because you are athletic. If you follow some of the things that high velocity throwers are doing and apply them, you're going to see a huge difference in how you throw a baseball. Alright, so let's just take you and compare you to each. So this is the peak of your leg kick. I'll take you into the peak of his. So he has a higher leg kick. I'll take you down to where, and I wouldn't say have a higher leg kick, I just need you to move forward to right out of where your hands break. Okay, so where your hand is, I would actually typically teach what you're doing, where your hand goes down more than his. You've moved away very well by this time, but what you see is a difference in his glove side versus your glove side. He's more closed, he's more turned away with his upper half. Even though I prefer what your hand is doing, I prefer what his glove side is doing and what his lower half is doing, where he's turned away, that lead leg is pinching to keep his front hip closed. He's traveling down the mound. You're going to see a difference in his back knee, right, where his knee is turned out in torsion. So we want to copy similarities in high velocity throwers to enhance what we're doing. So do not let your athleticism be an excuse or be an exception for why you do what you do. You should still copy the best throwers because remember, these guys are extremely athletic as well. They wouldn't be where they are if they weren't. So there are still advantages to moving in the way that you see a guy like Zach Greinke moving. Okay, so let's just take him into where his arm gets cocked. Okay, you know what? Let's even back up. So I'm watching his left leg. Okay, where his left leg crosses his front hip. So your left leg crosses your front hip right here. Look at the difference in your lower half versus his. I like that your upper half is late, but if I take a line and I draw it through his front hip and I try to go straight down, I'm just doing this freehand, but I take yours, you're in similar positions relative to where he's at. You can't disagree with that. But then I take you to where your hand gets parallel, and you can see the differences in what you're seeing with your lower half versus his lower half. So you have a lot of really good qualities. You have a lot of similar positions. You hit a lot of similar positions, I should say. And your athleticism is obvious in how you throw. But we are going to see differences in your reactions. So the things that I just described, you're going to see a difference in how you react. So biggest thing I see when you throw is lack of external rotation relative to a high velocity thrower. This guy, Greinke does not. I led I led this conversation by saying he is not aggressive in his movements, meaning this is not a guy that you see him doing things really exaggerated. Like, his movements are fairly subtle, fairly conservative. You don't see a ton of maximum external rotation in him. And look at how much more he has. So you're going to see other guys in the bigs, you're going to see this happen farther back. You're going to see more layback. So you're not only going to see more external rotation, you're going to see external rotation happen behind him farther. So, same thing goes for you. You could have more external rotation. You could have more external rotation behind your body. Going to pitch release. I mean, this looks very similar. He has a little bit more forward trunk rotation, but you are doing a lot of elite things, and it is 100% because you are an athletic guy that your body just knows what it should be doing. So if you start implementing some of the things that we talked about early in your motion, you're going to see superior high-level reactions to what you're doing. You're going to see more forward trunk tilt. You're going to see more whip in your arm, aka more external rotation. You're going to see your ball speed go up. You're going to see your command go up. All of it goes back to what happens as you initiate your movement down the mound. Please feel free to email me with any questions. I spent more time on you. I think it's really important that you continue in block 2 and block 3. I think it's really important that you spend some time watching yourself and comparing yourself to other throwers so you can embrace the things that I am suggesting that you try to adjust.